What's up, guys? Nav Creator here, and today we're going to be talking about everything you need to know about WWE 2K26 side plates. Now, the first thing you want to know is that side plates are basically what indicate who's the champion holding the belt, in which I think it's kind of a beautiful design. And so the first thing you want to know is that NXT side plates, when you're making an NXT championship, do actually work. They just somehow a little bit funky dunky, and we only have one person to blame for, and that's WWE 2K. And I would also like to point out that that goes for the same for the Cruiserweight Championship. But what I personally recommend is that if you're downloading, certain superstars like side plates, most majority would be in the gold section and not the silver. And so you can choose to do a custom, silver side plates, which is completely fine. I just personally would just change the belt to have like a black strap, gold instead of silver, because that's just my personal preference and an idea for what the Cruiserweight Championship would be. But, that's just a personal thing. Not everybody has to follow the exact same thing. And so the next championship that does accept working side plates is the NXT North American Championship. It just happens to look a lot more smaller than last year's game, which was 2K25, and I don't know why they didn't choose to do the same model. Now, the next championship that doesn't work is the NXT Tag Team Championships, which is very disappointing, I would say. And same goes for the NXT UK Tag Team Championships, which is honestly surprising, because it looks very detailed. And now what I do believe to work, I haven't tested it out yet, is the NXT UK Championship. What I can say the next one works is the Women's WWE Championship. Now the next one that 100% works all the time, guaranteed, is the WWE Championships, as the WWE Championship was the first one to debut side plates. Now the WWE Championship for 13 and 14, the first network logo design, its side plates don't work, but the easiest way to go around that is basically replace it with the current WWE side plates design. It'll still work either way. You just need to add some tweaks and add the original empty side plates for when the title it has no holder and it's vacant. Now this one irritates me the most, and that is the WWE Intercontinental Championship, which is a beautiful design, and I really wish they could have done more with this. And same goes for the United States Championship. They have such round and revealing side plates, and same goes for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. And so I just really wish they could have done more with fixing the side plates. But if you're wondering, how did I figure this out? Well, I pretty much just put them on wrestlers who, whether they did or didn't have side plate designs. And basically how you do that is you pretty much go to create a side plate through create a championship. You would then go to, for example, if you wanted to make one for Paige, you would pretty much just have to get a cool design, upload it to the WWE 2K uploads website, link your account there depending on which console you play at. You'd go to emboss and pretty much put it up to, this is just my personal preference, but I would go for 10 and not anything too exaggerated, just so that it seems more metal-like. And the material it would go to is steel, just so that it shines well. And as you can see, I have a bunch over there. I'm a personal side plate fan, and I just love how they look. And what you would want to do is then go to the superstar you want to assign it to, go to customs, and then you would find your side plate design and copy it to the right one, depending on whether or not you want the design to be for both left and right, or just one and then the other one is a different one, and you would do the same process for the other design. And basically the only typical way you would find out if the side plates were working or not is you would have to create a match. And then, as you can see, I'm pretty much just setting up a match only for entrance, where I would have to choose a bunch of different people. And the hard part about seeing championship designs is if, the person is wearing a coat or a jacket that would be hiding the championship under their jacket, which is very irritating unless they got a certain championship motion which would pretty much reveal the championship they're like holding and wave it up into the air. But yeah, no, this is definitely a rather slap in the face for side plates that I feel should have a lot more respect, and that's why you kind of see me go through some content creators, videos and commenting on how side plates need to have some form of justice, as I feel they don't have any form of justice in that case whatsoever. And so, yeah, I feel the community should just spread my word about how side plates need to have justice brought, and so that's just me. And so if you feel like spreading the words, then don't be shy about spreading the hashtag justice for side plates over on social media, and who knows, maybe we might get them installed for 2K26. And so that's just me personally trying to get 2K to fix the side plates. But for those of you who are wondering, how do you make side plates that are as good as Nzingus? At least I think I'm pronouncing that username right. It's actually kind of a quite simple process. So what you want to do is you want to try and go to his drive, and there should be a side plate base that you could use for a reference and guide for the design you want to put. And basically you want to do this in a software that you can pretty much do this bevel effect. At least I think that's how you pronounce it. You want to try and do this like bevel effect. And so basically, for example, I just made this art piece in Procreate, but you could pretty much just like take this image, and so basically I'm using this in Adobe Animate, as it is quite the closest thing you could ever get to using the bevel effect. But you would want to make this a movie clip. You would then want to make a setting, a preset for the bevel effect, and this is the closest you'll ever get to having a design that has the shadows and the lighting, and pretty much these are the settings right here. But you could pretty much customize them any way you want to, but I pretty much have it at the level 5, and you could create the distance. You could have the shadows like on top and the lighting at the bottom, but I personally would just have the lighting at the top, and like the shadows at the bottom, just so that it seems more similar. But you could customize it in any way possible. And when it comes to colors, you would have to get a different color of the side plate base, and you pretty much want to separate the color images. You would separate them and create the images to create some different effects, because I feel like that's better. And then you would pretty much just make the side plate base invisible, and then you pretty much just export it. Now, what I do recommend is just having no background, just so that it's just the logo, or at least like the nameplate. Mainly because it's my preference, because what I've learned when making side plates is you pretty much just once you like make your own side plate, you pretty much add nothing in the background, or otherwise it's just gonna be or otherwise the side plate base is going to connect with the in-game side plate, or otherwise the side plate settings are gonna take this for being a side plate designed for a championship that has circular side plates, and not for the NXT championship, or otherwise it's gonna look weird. And so basically, if you have no background to it, then pretty much your side plate could work for both WWE side plates and NXT side plates. And so what I personally recommend is having no background. But if you're not choosing to have any particular superstar win the NXT championship, then I would say go for the background. But pretty much it would add more shine to it, which I kind of don't like. For the logos out of the border of the black base of the side plate, which I think is personally pretty cool as well. But you could do it in any way which possible. And yeah, that's how you make a side plate, kind of like Nzingus, and that's pretty much the formula I've studied and perfected. And I feel like it's a really cool technique. It really brings out the colors and the vibe. and yeah, that sort of thing. But what I would also like for the game in many different ways for extreme rules matches or like any other type of match types to be included, or like custom Titantrons to be installed or so, like. But also what I really would like is for not only the tag team championships to have side plates shown, but also the women's championships for the mid card, as well as the tag team championships. I'm just really passionate about side plates. I think they're a really good introduction for this new era of WWE, which I would have to say is very questionable, but I don't try to get into it as much as possible. I just let social media do its thing, whether or not people want to complain or not. And sometimes it just bothers me to see that, but that's not me defending the product. As a matter of fact, I kind of stopped watching the product when they retired John Cena and stopped pushing for what has now become my new favorite faction in WWE, Dark State and NXT, which I felt they should have done more with them and have all of them win the championships on NXT. But now they're just decided to pull the plug and, have them split up, which is very disappointing unless they could find some sort of way to, have them, make up and, continue their dominance until they get called up for the main roster, which they still have lots to give. I'll give them that. Each one of them are very talented, but I just feel WWE is not doing their job for what they should be doing with these 4 individuals who I took a liking to when they did win the tag team championships at Heatwave. And so I feel, this is it. This is the future. And I'm starting to like this faction. And I really don't care what anybody else has to say, whether or not they're like Timu, Undisputed Era or Shield. I really don't care what anybody else has to say. It really just all matters about the way they're being presented, and the first few weeks were pretty awesome. I do have to say that. But let me know what you guys think. And I will have to say this, the World Heavyweight Championship for both the men's and women's do work. They are just, the World Heavyweight Championship that WWE currently has is not part of for Create a Championship, which is oddly disappointing, because I really would have loved to, customize the current day World Heavyweight Championship, and it is part of the relief, I think I'm pronouncing that right, section for, adding some images. They just don't have like the side plate base or the strap design for the current day World Heavyweight Championship, which I really would love to see. And, I would love to also see custom music imported, but let me know what you guys think. I feel like there should be more ragdoll physics and more optimization. But anyways, that's just what this video is. I hope you find this tutorial useful. But anyways, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys have a good day, and also, I'll talk to you all later.